So, guys, there's a little company started out in the 90s, and they have a new movie coming out called, what is it? Inside Out 2, which I'm actually pretty excited for. And I figured that I'd have us come together, and obviously people that are watching, give us your ranking of Pixar films, but that's what we're doing today. We decided to, what the heck, let's do a tier list.
Yeah, Joseph had a real hankering for a tier list.
I've been wanting to do it for a while, man. I don't know why. I feel
really
kind of basic. It's very YouTube basic. I know it's such an easy type of content to do, but it's fun.
I like how one of the we recorded the episode Jesus and Joseph a couple months ago, but it's one of the more recently released episodes. So having just kind of freshly edited it, it's really funny for me to go from this conversation of like, oh man, how do we handle like validly criticizing filmmaking when you're a part of the filmmaking community? Like, will you burn bridges? Will you this? Will you that? And now we're just like, let's rank movies. Let's just straight up rank
cinema.
Movies. Let's rank them.
Let's pivot a little. Let's talk about kids movies, guys. Hey, it's more than just kids movies. It's cinema. I freaking love Pixar. I mean, that's part of the reason of anything to start with you guys of a tier ranking. I think this is perfect because it's such a, I think Pixar is just honestly one of the most iconic studios. I mean, attached to probably the most iconic studio, even though they're kind of in a little bit of a weird upward, downward spiral at the same time with Disney. It's such an interesting time to be a Disney fan and also a Disney hater. But Pixar, for me, I feel like it's more, Pixar reflects most of the best qualities of Disney. It still has that imagination. It still has that somewhat original like concept. Even though they're talking and there's rumors that they're going to reboot Finding Nemo in The Incredibles.
How do you reboot it?
That's literally like, I'm like wanting to punch I'm like, Disney, do you not get it?
How do you do that?
Well, also, people are dumb and people will go see it. I'm going to go see it because
it's
content.
Kind of your job.
I mean, yeah, like I'm gonna go see it because I feel like I have to like at least say something about it. But oh my gosh, that's a whole other subject of original content. But hey, I pray that isn't a thing. But here we are. We're given our rankings of certain films, and I feel like the funny part is I know for sure, Tim, you haven't seen all of them, right? You haven't seen like.
No. I created. So on my screen, under the F tier, I put another row on each of our pages that just says, haven't seen.
It's even worse. It's worse than E.
Well,
that's funny.
I mean, and I've got a lot better going there, honestly. I mean, do we just want to kick it off?
Yeah, let's do it. I think, do we want to do it like in release order or like franchise? Okay, so Toy Story 1... I gotta put it in the very top S tier, because it's like A New Hope. You know what I mean? It's the one that started it.
No, I don't know what you. Oh. All right, I'm sorry. I should let you go. That comparison just shook me a little, and I had a really.
No, I literally do not understand what you're saying.
Sorry, I had a really hard.
And if you're saying what I think you're saying, you're wrong.
All right.
Dude, Toy Story is equivalent in the sense of like it started something revolutionary. And it started something that was not seen before for animation. I wish I was like a kid during that time. I was literally -1 years old in 1995. But to be able to experience that in theaters, like for me, my Toy Story, I think was The Incredibles. I remember seeing that in theaters. I'll get to that later. But for Toy Story, when I watched it at home all the time, I could feel why people were talking about it back in the day. The same reason why I brought up New Hope, where if I literally talk to my dad and he watches the new Star Wars, he's like, man, A New Hope was just something else. Like comparing to everything that we have today. but it was fun. It was awesome seeing Tom Hanks playing a toy cowboy, and Tim Allen, Home Improvement, I think that was the show that he was in throughout the 90s. Yeah. Loved it, iconic. So you had that guy in this movie as well. Sid, arguably the best villain in a kids movie of all time. There's so much, like, there's really nothing wrong with the film. It's a brisk 85, 90 something minute movie that gets you straight to the point. You fall in love with the characters. So for me, it's easily at the very top for not just being the first one, but being a great film in general. So yeah, that's where I'd put it.
Toy Story 1, if I'm answering as me today, it is, I don't know, like it's a C. Am I explaining any of this at all, or am I just like saying what it is to me?
You can.
Okay.
You can explain it. Yeah.
I mean, putting it at a C, people might be like, "Why?" And you would just be like, "Because."
So, I keep feeling like I need to sneeze. Anyway, yeah, for me it's a C. It's a C for me right now because, like, I would just never watch it. I would never watch it. I know it's a good movie. I respect it for what it is. I respect it for what it was when I was a kid and enjoying it. Is it something I'd ever watch today as me? No. But I'm also a psycho, and by now, anyone who is like watch or listen to these podcast episodes at all knows that. So, yeah, Toy Story, the OG Toy Story, is a C.
Okay. I'll respect that.
I would slap it an A. I think it was fun. I think it was definitely original for its time. It was a technological marvel for its time. It still has a lot of like really funny and iconic witty dialogue in it. And I really enjoyed it. There, simple as that. Next up is A Bug's Life.
Bug's Life is B. It's B tier. I think it is a good film, but yeah, just B tier.
Oh, okay.
Bug's Life for me is S tier.
Ooh.
That's pretty good. I haven't seen it in so long. I'm gonna put it B for now. B is
okay.
Like, I know I liked it, but man, it's been so long.
No, yeah, and like for me, I remember watching it a lot as a kid, and obviously I love the film. Like I put it in B tier. It's a really good film. It's just one that as I've grown older and looked at it, it's just not as memorable, I should say, compared to other ones that I've seen that are like in higher quality. Because obviously there's ones that are worse than A Bug's Life. But for me, it was really funny, and I think it had some of the most kind of, I don't want to say on the nose humor, but there were some layers to it that I found growing up that I much appreciated. And it just has a really crazy villain, and the third act is wild with the bird. It's really dark. The bad guy gets it, and it's awesome. And that's an ending I will always remember as a kid, being terrified but also loving at the same time. So yeah, that's why I give it a B. It's good, but it took a while to get to some moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I like that scene. And then 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, I can skip this. But yeah, B tier, it's good. That's why.
For me, it's a S because if I think about like, if someone said to me like, hey, you want to watch A Bug's Life, I'd be like, yeah, let's watch it. Like it's not a movie for me where I'd really have to like think about it, even though I know what's in the movie. I think that like it has such a dynamic range that, at least for me, like it hits a lot of things that I would like especially out of a movie like that. Like it's colorful, it's poppy, but also is very dark. Right, so like as rich and beautiful as it could be, it can also be like super tragic. And it has the tropes of the little scrawny nerdy guy, and then becoming the man by the end, and that kind of stuff, right? But just even with that, like, I thought it was fun. I thought the ant colony stuff was fun. I think they did cool stuff with water, and like how water could be great. It could also just straight up kill you. Like, there's a lot of just, I think, cool, fun stuff. A bright, colorful cast of individuals, and yeah. So I it's one of those movies for me.
No, I really liked it. It's fun. I remember it moving along at a really brisk pace. I would actually say the villain in this movie meets a pretty grim fate compared to a lot of other ones. Just straight up chomped. But it's fun. It's good. I liked it. I remember I had a big plastic Hopper toy when I was a kid because I had like a Disney store gift card when I was young, and I was like, sure, this guy. Toy Story 2.
Oh gosh.
Which, fun fact about this movie, it like accidentally got deleted.
Yep.
In the middle of production. And they had like a year to remake the entire thing. Something like
Yikes.
A year. Yeah, it was I can't even imagine. That's like ultimate nightmare scenario.
Yeah, dark days.
Yeah. All right. Where are you putting it, Jack?
S tier. Don't even have to think about it.
Rich?
B tier.
I think I'm A on this one.
Yeah, Toy Story 2 is my favorite one.
Really?
Out of all of them. I don't know why. It's just because it's better. I mean, that's simply the answer. But for me, on a personal level, it was the one I always rewatched. It was especially the story arc for Jesse's character. They would always play this one song, and it sounds like in the arms of an angel. I don't know why, just it has that vibe, and I would always go back to that scene and be like, I'm gonna start crying again, because you see Jessie being taken away and the little girl, and like it's so tragic, and oh no, she just wants to be with her owner or whatever you'd call a toy to a kid, their kid. I just loved it. It was tragic. It was Shakespearean for me as a kid. Also, the Prospector, the best villain in the whole franchise, played by Kelsey Grammer, an amazing actor. Just the combination of that and the whole situation with the big fat guy with the Cheeto fingers, and the whole situation where they're trying to like sneak past and he's sleeping on the couch. Iconic. One of the best Pixar scenes, for me at least. I love that scene. The whole sequence also at the airport, amazing. Thrilling, engaging, like on the edge of my seat as a kid. And also the best thing, the best part of the whole film, hands down, beating the airport sequence, is when Zurg says, I am your father, to Buzz Lightyear, and then he falls down to his death. Obviously he doesn't die, it's a kid's movie. And then Tim Allen says, Father. 10 out of 10. S tier, that's why. Freaking love that movie. It's emotional, it's action packed, and it's hilarious. It's the funniest Toy Story.
No, for me, it's a B, because I know that I enjoyed it when I watched it. I remember that it was a good movie. I just don't think that I would like watch it again. It doesn't have that kind of like, oh hey, you want to watch Toy Story 2? I'm like, yeah. Like, it doesn't have that for me. But I respect it, and I have fond memories of it. I have a much fonder memory of Toy Story 2 than I do of Toy Story 1. So yeah, that's why it's at a B for me. I think from what I remember, it was great. I enjoyed it. I have positive feelings about it. But it's not a movie that I would just ever watch like on my own, or if someone asked.
it's pretty rare that I think sequels are better than the original Toy Story 2. Like, they're both like in the same tier for me, but I do think 2's a bit better. So I made a mistake. They didn't delete like the whole. They did delete the film, but an animator who went on leave had a copy, like took a copy home in their garage or something for whatever reason. So they were able to get most of it back. Still like terrifying. Something about putting a code in a computer and that particular code just like deletes everything on a computer as fast as possible.
Oh my God.
That's so scary. Like, just the idea of knowing everything's leaving and you're like, I gotta yank this hard drive out. But the hard drive was probably like, in the computer or whatever. This movie's fun. I remember my favorite scene being, "Go long, son." Okay, Dad. If there's one part of the movie that I remember thinking like, okay, let's all slow down a little bit, is in the first movie, they had to strap a rocket firework onto an RC car to catch up to a moving truck. In this movie, Bullseye the horse was able to straight up keep up with an airplane during liftoff.
Heck yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane to me. But no, fun movie. I mean, the movie's about talking toys. I'm not going to go too crazy about suspending my disbelief. Monsters, Inc.
Ooh. S tier. S tier for me. There's going to be a lot of S tier spoilers, people. Yeah. It's going to probably be a lot of S tiers in this for me.
I'll probably have a lot of A's.
I'm okay. I have to get used to that. We're doing these rapid. For me, Monsters Inc. is B tier.
I think it's B for me as well.
I remember when my parents took me to this film, very little. I was very young. I think I was like 5 or 6. And it was like, I think we were leaving California or something, and we were on the way home and we stopped by, went to get food, and then we went to this random theater we'd never been to before, and then I saw Monsters, Inc. there. And it's, for people, there are certain experiences that people never forget. Like, I mentioned it before, like, that was definitely a new hope for people. Obviously, Jurassic Park is probably something that's up there as well. Jaws. For me, growing up, it's definitely Monsters, Inc. Because it wasn't just a funny, comedic film. It was the first time that I could tell, like, oh, I'm going to cry in a movie. Like, the other Toy Stories, I kind of watched all these around the same time because I wasn't really able to go to a theater yet. I was too young. And then my parents were like, okay, I guess we'll start taking you. And that's when I kind of like started exploring a lot of cartoon movies, and then obviously Toy Stories and Bug's Life, and then Monsters, Inc. And it just, the whole camaraderie between Mike and Sully, Billy Crystal and John Goodman is probably one of the best duos in a kid's film. And I'm glad they continued that later on with Monsters University, even though we'll get to that later. It just was a good film. It wasn't anything too deep. It was just simply a movie about monsters scaring kids and then befriending this child named Boo and trying to save her from a weird 8-legged spider old fart man villain. And also Randall, played by Steve Buscemi? Yeah, great. He was perfectly cast as that character. And also Billy Crystal as Mike, the one-eyed green monster. It's just one of those characters that you look at and you know you're watching a Pixar film. It's just a standard. And he had the chops. So for me, I might be a little biased because it was like one of the first like cartoon films that I ever saw in a theater, but it was one that I just won't ever forget, not just because of the comedy, but because of just watching two friends having a job like scaring kids. For me, obviously, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, oh, I should be scared. No, obviously it's a kid's movie, but the idea was just so outlandish and crazy for me watching that as a kid that I like ate it up. And even as an adult today, I eat that concept up. It's hilarious and it's heartwarming and endearing, and the ending will get you choked up if you have a heart. So, yeah, for me, that's why it's there.
Like, it's at a B for me for the same reason why, like, Toy Story 2 is at a B, where it's like I respect it for what it is and for what it was. Like, I remember enjoying it. I actually remember enjoying it a lot when I was a kid. Would I watch it today? I wouldn't. I would understand why people would, but there's nothing there for me. Yeah, I just don't feel like there's anything there for me anymore. And I feel like I feel like it's going to be very difficult for a lot of things to break past B for me. Also, I'd like to change Bug's Life to a A, because I thought about something that's coming down the line, and so I know, like, oh yeah, that's not an S. It still needs to be, you know, the highest on my list, as you know, for right now. But yeah, like, I feel like I appreciate Pixar for what it is and for what they do. They're very good at what they do, and the kinds of stories that they tell. And I think that overall, I think that, like, one of the core components, like, of the things that they do, which is very, like, heartwarming, like, right, like, just that kind of thing. I think that personally, I'm just not very into it. Like, thinking about this now, like, I just think I'm not very into it, which may have some psychological implications that are far beyond the scope of this podcast, but yeah, I appreciate them, I enjoy them, and that kind of thing. But, like, you know, all I could do is look back on them, like, one, maybe two of them out of all the ones that we're gonna talk about today are ones that I actually like watch again. So
I don't think not liking Monsters Inc. a whole ton is like cause for diagnosis. But
no.
I'm surprised you put it in B. It, like, you put it in B, but the way you talk about it doesn't sound like B.
No, yeah, it's because for me a B is like, with this stuff, it's like it's sound, it's respectable. I know that I liked it in the past, and I know that I liked it, you know, pretty decently. I know I rewatched it, you know, when I was younger or whatever, and so it'll always have my respect in that way. But, like, would I watch it again today? No, I would not. If someone asks, hey, yo, you want to watch Monsters, Inc.? No. And so that, for me, is, like, where that cap is. Where it's, like, only the things that I'm, like, watching again in my current era is making it to A, and the things I can watch basically forever at almost any time, wherever I'm at, is going to be an S. Right. So, like, that's kind of how it is for me. C is still good, you know, like, so, yeah.
I think it's fun. I think some of the humor is a little more on the, like, juvenile side, but it is a kid's movie. So I'm not going to, like, fault it too hard for that. It's, like you said, it's definitely not one of the, if I'm like, I want to watch a Pixar movie, it's not one of the first ones I would flock to. But it is fun. The design of the monsters on a lot of them is really cool. I think I left school a little early because my folks made, like, a family trip plan out of us going to see this on, like, the opening Friday or something.
That's tight.
So yeah, it was fun. I've a couple fond memories tied to the movie. and I've seen it like more than once. Like, it's good. It's fun, and again, also spawned a lot of like really iconic jokes and memes and this, that, and the other. And next up is Finding Nemo.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, before we move on, I'm so sorry. I am going to cut you off though. I want to make a note and just say that where I'm coming from, just so people have a reference point. Where I'm coming from, I'm basically not judging any of these on like their technical abilities or capabilities or anything like that. Even on like necessarily their storytelling. Like, I'm literally judging them based on how I feel and their relationship to me. And that's what it's based off of, because they're all excellent films. And like Tim just mentioned about even with like monsters designs, right? Like all these other kinds of things, completely like inventive in every way. So I want to make sure that like that's clear to everyone. These aren't about like whether or not I think it's technically a good film or not. This is just about how I feel and my relationship with these films. That's how I'm ranking them. Okay.
Okay. Finding Nemo.
I'm gonna put this in B for me. I know it's iconic, so people don't shoot me, because a B is still a good score, because I already know people out there are going to be like, how dare you, it's S, or how dare you, it's A. Well, for me, it's B, you freaking... Never mind. It's a fine movie. It's a good movie, actually, and it has a lot of iconic moments. Shark bait, hoo-ha-ha. Fish are friends, not food. It's all great. I love it. I love it. It's just one that I don't tend to go back and rewatch, kind of like how Richard was talking about for Toy Story and Monsters, Inc. It's a good film. I recognize its power. I recognize its statement in cinema for Pixar animation films. But yeah, that's it. I don't go to it as much. Still respect it, though.
Finding Nemo for me is a D.
Dang, and I thought I was going hard. That's the crazy part. You just like to do a sucker punch to me.
I have a history with Finding Nemo, but we'll get to that.
Oh, dang. Oh, shoot, my bad. I literally was talking. God, shut me up next time, guys.
Nemo
Gosh.
lunch money. I quite like this movie.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Gonna go
It's gonna go A? Wow, he put it above. Wow.
I'll go B.
Wow.
Okay.
I already said my reason. I literally forgot the whole process.
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, so for me, I think that like I feel like my relationship with Finding Nemo is like the perfect example of what I was saying about like how the like sappy, sentimental, like heartwarming kind of thing is almost like it just is not like I don't really like stuff like that. And Finding Nemo to me, it just drips, it just oozes that. Like that's everything that it is. And I respect that, but I couldn't I literally got into like when I was in college, I literally was like arguing with people about Finding Nemo, because everyone who doesn't like Finding Nemo, right?
For real.
You have to be insane, and I told you I'm insane. So so people keep talking about Finding. I'm like, what are you even saying? Like, I don't even know why we were talking about it. We were in college at that point. I don't even know why we were talking about Finding Nemo, but we were, and I was like, no. Now what are we talking about? And so that became a huge thing in and of itself, but. Yeah, again, plenty of like iconic moments and yeah, just a lot of stellar stuff in it. But I just have a very visceral reaction to it, and so for that, it is a D for me.
I like this movie. Way back when I worked a retail job, I worked in an electronics section, and this movie played on loop, and I didn't mind it because it's a good movie. It's a fun movie. Does a good job showing off the TV's bright colors. There's no part of the movie that's like boring. Like, it's colorful. It looks great. Also sparked a bunch of like super duper iconic lines, like "he touched the butt," stuff like that. Fish are friends, not food. Dory's a pretty iconic character. I'm not really sure if she has like an iconic line outside of whale calls, but like her character.
Just keep swimming.
Oh yeah, you're right. Just keep swimming. Look at you. It must be a pretty contentious relationship with this movie because you know it. You know it.
Yeah.
You knew it better than I did, and I was in a room where it played on loop. I don't know why. I remember when I saw this in a theater with my family. I don't remember why, but I was in a mood. Like, I didn't want to sit with anyone. I sat by myself when we went to a theater with my family. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. I think I was just feeling away that day, and I just wanted to sit by myself. So I saw Finding Nemo with my family in a theater, but sitting by myself. Can I tell you why? No, I can't. I couldn't tell you why. It's, I don't know. The wind blew a little bit funky that day. It just blew in a particular direction, and I said, I'm going to sit by myself. Next up is Incredibles 1.
S tier.
Rich?
Thank you. That is my S tier, for sure.
We got it. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the right decision.
Yeah, I think I feel the same. I feel the same. Go ahead, Jack.
This is the best Pixar film, still today. It's witty, it's funny, it's a mixture of Mission Impossible, James Bond, every spy action, like fun, just a fun film mashed into a kids movie with so many jokes that can go over kids' heads like it did for me, and then you grow up and realize, wow, that was a really inappropriate joke, and why are the mom's legs that thick? Oh, this was made by adults.
Crying out
yes.
loud, dude.
This is the movie that made me realize I know who I am. And it's just a funny. I can't believe I said it. It's just a funny movie. And especially like as a kid. At the end of the day, when you're a kid watching this, it's great. But as an adult, it's even better. And that's what I love about Pixar for certain films, is that you can go back and be like, wow, that's touching for me when I was a kid, but also as an adult. But then also you just have some hilarious moments that go by where the weird ball thing, I don't know what you would call it, Syndrome's like big boss mecha monster thing is stretching out Mr. Incredible, and he's screaming out in pain, stretches him perfectly for his back to be back in place. Moments like that I will always cherish. It's hands down the funniest and the most intense, with a villain that is just kind of sad to look at, but he's kind of a genius at the same time. And as an ending with Jack. That is in the all-timers. Throw me! I love that. There's just so much to talk about, and I think I already talked enough about the thighs, so we'll move forward. That's why.
Yeah, I didn't need
Ending
to know
on the thighs.
I didn't need to know what little Joseph learned about himself when he saw.
Oh yeah, yes, the thighs.
I became a man.
How could
I
we
became
move
a man.
past it?
Easily.
Landmark.
Quickly, please.
Landmark thighs, I tell you that. Anyway, right? But yeah, it's just I feel like it strikes. It's like a perfectly balanced blade. You know, that's what it's like for me. It's just like it's everything that I would want to see in that. Like, if that even makes any sense. Like The Incredibles, to me, The Incredibles is what The Incredibles should be. right? Like, there's not another version of The Incredibles that I wish that I saw, or another version of The Incredibles that I wonder about, or whatever. Like, that is The Incredibles, and I love that movie. Like, there's so many things about it. Like, the scenery is beautiful. The characters are great. You feel the real, like, stakes and danger, and the small betrayals. You see the range of, like, emotions, and like, just, and all of that, also without it feeling super, again, sappy or heartwarming or whatever else, right? Like, you still get those things, but without it, like, you know, going in the direction of, say, a Nemo, or, you know, that kind of thing. This is a movie that I can just watch over and over and over again, which can't be said for me for, like, many animated movies. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
One of my favorite things about this movie, honestly, is the villain, because it's one of those things where it's like he's almost like he's kind of right, but wrong reasons. Like, this idea that essentially he kind of wants to, like, level the playing field in a way. I mean, he's really sadistic about it. He's clearly got a lot of, like, balances out of whack. Like, you know, there's a difference between I'm going to level the playing field by giving everyone powers and murdering everyone who tries to stop you on the way to doing it, you know? Like, I pulled up a wiki, and a couple of his quotes here, like, they're pretty strong quotes for a kid's movie. Like, it tore me apart, but I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone, especially your heroes. To be honest, that's something I'm even kind of, like, learning recently.
Yes. Yep. Lindsay and I have talked about that a lot.
Yeah. Another one. See, now you respect me because I'm a threat. That's the way it works. Turns out there are a lot of people, whole countries, who want respect, and they will pay through the nose to get it. How do you think I got rich? I invented weapons, and now I have a weapon that only I can defeat. Like,
yo, what?
This dude's crazy, but he's not wrong. Or there's always what I think is probably the most famous one: when everyone is super, no one will be.
Yeah.
And part of me feels bad for him because he got spurned by who he looked up to the most. Now, I never took it as, like, Mr. Incredible being like F off, kid. It's like, this is dangerous. If you hang around with me, you could get hurt. You could get killed. Like, and I'm used to operating alone. Like, but it came out bad. It came out in a way that was so hurtful. It changed this guy's life. And the person he became ended up being someone who isn't really entirely wrong. Like, what he's doing is awful. But this notion of, like, no one cared until I could hurt them it's a compelling notion. And I do think writing a good villain is easier than writing a good hero. But the heroes in this movie are fun. I liked it. Cars 1.
C. Cars 1 for me. It's a C.
I feel exactly the same. It's a C.
Yeah, I'll be quick about this one. I remember growing up watching it, putting it on the DVD player quite a few times as a kid, but growing up, it's the one that I've least out of, like, the big franchise number ones, the first one. I definitely have. I don't remember the last time I watched it, honestly, and it's to the point where I don't even remember the full premise, other than he's a big shot, then he's not, and he gets humbled by Paul Newman and Tomator or Terminator or whatever the joke is. Like, I love Larry the Cable Guy, but no, so annoying. So he's like the Jar Jar Binks of Pixar.
Now that's hilarious.
Like he's the Jar Jar Binks of Pixar, and I thought he was funny as a kid growing up. I'm like, wow, I knew nothing. He is, yeah. So that's my thoughts. C.
It's a C for me. I feel like I had pretty much I had a fairly similar relationship with cars when I was a kid. It's something that me and my younger siblings watch actually quite frequently. We play the DVD a whole bunch of times. I remember the plot fairly well. It's a good movie. I respect it. Is it one that I'd go back to now? No. Do I have any desire to go back to it? No. Yeah. So.
I just didn't. I only found one of the leads to be particularly likable, the old car Doc. Like, he was interesting, and I think the voice casting and acting in this movie was done really well. I think it's just like, I don't really have the words for it, but this movie just didn't engage me super duper hard, and I'm just gonna keep it at that. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille, B tier.
Rich?
Agreed. B tier for me as well.
I think I only saw it once, but I remember liking it enough to think A.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Hilarious moments in the kitchen with whoever the main lead is. I don't even remember the main lead's character. Obviously, there's the rat and his crew, and he wants to be a chef. Oh, I want people to accept me, but I'm hiding in a hat. Can anyone ever accept me being a cook? Yes. Or no, yes. But I didn't really care for the romantic or friendship. I think it becomes a romantic thing with the guy and the girl. I think the villain's kind of hilarious, though. Short little man. I remember there was also another scene that was memorable to me with, I don't know if he said I killed the man with this thumb or something like that. Yeah, or something. There was something to do with the thumb.
Yeah, he was one of the chefs, I think.
Yeah, and I remember
He was
laughing.
working back at house.
I remember laughing so loud during the theater. Like, that's the reason why I give it a B. But other than that, it's one of those movies that I don't really go to rewatch. So, yeah, I respect it, B.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where I actually don't. There's a lot I don't recall about this movie. I just remember the way that it made me feel. I remember colors. I remember sounds. I remember the whole thing with Paris. I remember being enamored with that just as a kid, and that kind of thing. And I remember the critic. I'll never forget the critic. It's just such a powerful and striking character. It's just like actually a striking character. And I remember he terrified me when I was a kid too. He was actually incredibly scary to me. But I enjoyed his character. And to be honest, like, I'd watch that movie just to, like, today, just to skip to his scenes. I just felt like he was very compelling. Yeah, good movie. Would I watch it again today? Well, I mean, I just said I would, but for those specific things. Outside of that, no. But yeah, good movie.
Yeah, I liked it, and the same for me. The villain is what stood out the most, because the scene where he tries Ratatouille is such a good scene where it, like, takes him back to his childhood and makes him remember the kid he was before he became a jaded adult, filled with strife and angst and a grizzled misdemeanor, just before life chiseled away at him and made him something that he didn't want to be. It was nice. It was a nice scene. I liked it. Wall-E.
A tier.
That's a C for me.
I only saw it once. I think I'll say C for now.
Because it's low-key a romantic comedy, and I love it for that. Also, it's kind of scary to see a potential reality actually turn out to be that, where we keep on treating our planet like it's a steaming pile of hot square trash that Wally has to put in and put out every day. And then also we all become fat slobs on a chair that floats. That is definitely a reality that's going to happen with the way the world's going. I can foresee it. Everybody loves to be on their couch and stream things. So yeah, I think, all jokes aside, I think it's a very touching film with themes that are pretty resonating. So, A tier.
It's a fun little movie. I respect it for what it is, for what it was. I think I've seen it once, maybe twice. It has too much of that heartwarm feel to it for me. It gushes a little bit too much. And so because of that, it doesn't quite connect with me. But I remember there were some moments that I enjoyed in it. I cannot, for the life of me, place any particular point in the plot line. I just know things happen. I don't know in what order. So yeah, decent movie. Wouldn't watch again. But I respect it.
It's cute. It's a really cute movie, and it looks great. The climactic scene of the movie regards whether or not a person can stand up. That's the climax of the movie, is if this guy can stand on his feet.
Come on.
It was just a bit hard for me to engage with that. I was like, this is beyond grim. But it's cute, it's fun. I love the scene where they're kind of like dancing through stars and stuff, and Wally and Eve's designs are super adorable. It's fun. All right, up.
B.
It's a C.
This is S for me.
The reason why it's a B, it's a good movie. The movie truly, if it kept at the same level of quality and intensity as the first 5 minutes, probably the most iconic opening to a Pixar film, the one that everybody always goes to or tries to do like a parody of, or take notes from on how to open a film. It's probably from Up. And on that alone, it deserves, in my personal view, to be on the B ranking. But then the movie kind of just goes, and it's still a good movie. I don't hate it or dislike it or just think it's okay. It's just not as engaging as it was in the first 5-10 minutes. I mean, even the first act. It's really when he leaves the house, or the house leaves the neighborhood, I should say, when the movie kind of just becomes, okay, yeah, I'm glad I watched it. Had some good things, had some funny moments. I liked the Boy Scout kid with the talking dog. But am I going to rewatch it all the time? No. So, yeah, B.
It was a cool little movie. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember anything about this movie. I don't remember a single thing about this movie. I don't even know when I watched it. I know I watched it, though. I don't know who I watched it with. I don't know where it was. I have almost no feelings attached to it whatsoever, outside of feeling like it was boring. That is probably the only emotional attachment that I have to it, if you call bored an emotion, which I don't think it is, but I'm gonna say it is. So yeah, that's the only thing that I've really got. So I mean, honestly, so we could shift my stuff again. So we can move Nemo down. Where's it at? D?
Yeah.
He's like, wait a second.
You know what? Yeah, Nemo's going to a, what's under that, a F?
E.
It's a E?
Yeah.
All right, sure. You can move that down. You can move that down to E. You can move up to a D. D for me it's not because it's bad. It's just because like it was boring. It just was boring, and there's nothing else. Like I can't even say really anything else about it.
So it was like mediocre. It was like mediocre for you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know if I'd want to watch it again. 'Cause I have zero recollection. I just know that I've watched it. But yeah.
I like this movie a lot, even though the Charles the Explorer from the beginning of the movie, I think that's his name, Charles. He should be toast. He should be dead. He should. He's considerably older than Carl, and Carl's a pretty elderly gentleman. So I mean, he should be toast. Let alone able to do a quarter of the feats he pulls off in this movie. But this movie, yes, the first 5 minutes are like iconic and heartbreaking and tragic, and for sure, I'm fairly certain this movie absolutely does not pass the Bechdel. But I really like the heart behind this movie of this guy who's like, I never got to fulfill my dreams with her, but I like, who kind of still sets out to fulfill these dreams and take these trips and float the house away. I mean, it's completely outlandish. It's crazy. It's out of this world. Yeah, I like this movie a lot. It was another one that played on loop at it was one of the electronic sections I worked at years ago, and I never really got sick of it. It was fun. It's got, you know, a little bit of pacing here and there, but I just like this movie a lot. Toy Story 3.
I'm actually going to pull a plot twist on myself. I was originally going to say S, but I'm going to put in an A.
All right.
I forgot how I ranked these. D.
D? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go A, which means I put the whole trilogy in A.
Nice. And then there was a fourth one, though. Dun dun dun. And potentially a fifth. So Toy Story 3. I was going to put in an S, but the reason why I held back is because I don't go to it as much compared to the first two. Toy Story 3 is a really great film with a finale and ending that when I was watching it, and I wasn't like a kid. This came out in 2010, so what? I was 14 when I saw this, so that was kind of wild to watch this. I honestly didn't think we were going to get a Toy Story 3, and glad we did. And the ending got me. I really thought they were going to die. I'm like, oh my God, is this really it? Is this the end for the family? Obviously, it's a kid's movie. I was stupid for thinking that they would die, but that's how good the movie was for me, where I was on the edge of my seat thinking, wow, we're literally going to see one of the most iconic cartoon characters be killed by fire. What the frick's wrong with you guys? And then you get the ending with, you know, saying goodbye to Andy, which to me was such a great trilogy closer. Like, this was how you end the franchise. This was how you end the franchise. A tier. Love the movie.
It's in D for me because I don't remember anything about it. I know I watched it. A shout out to everybody that worked on that movie. I have no idea what work you did, but I know you did it, and I know it's great, and a lot of people love it. I just have no idea what it was, but respect. So, yep, it's a D for me.
A for me. I think the Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 trilogy is just consistently high quality and really fun. The first time I saw it, the ending did not make me cry. The second time I saw it, it did. Don't know how, don't know why. That's just the way it went. It's good. I really like it. The ending is great. I remember like my toys growing up, my action figures. I've gotten to give a few to my nephews, and some they broke in my time, but I'd be in a Goodwill and I'd see one that's like I had that as a kid, and I'd buy it and I'll give it to my nephews. I mean, I'll Clorox it. I'll absolutely Clorox the hell out of it, but like wipe it down every way I know how. Just the idea of because at the end of the movie, if you don't remember, Rich, the toys, Andy goes to college, and the toys he ends up giving them to a little girl. I can't remember if the little girl's from the same neighborhood or not. And he's kind of like pulling them out one by one and giving them to her. And while you can tell, he's thinking about like all the times he's had with them, all the stories he's created with them, all the little parts of him where these toys helped him get through just the pain of growing up. It was a really beautiful ending. It was very well done. Cars 2.
Plot twist, never seen it.
Rich?
I've never seen it either.
I did, and that's gonna be an E for me.
That's the reason why I didn't see it. Because it's not going to be good. I know it's going to suck.
I saw it with my mother, and it must have been one of my nephews when they were really little or something. I don't remember the year this movie came out. It had to be like 2011 or 12. First nephew might not have been born when this came out. I don't know. It wasn't just me and Mom. There was a kid there. I guess me and Mom stole someone's kid. And we went and saw Cars 2 and gave the kid back. Michael Caine is great, and I love him, and he does a good job in this movie. The story of this movie was just not fun to me or engaging. It's the only time I saw it, and it was kind of the only time I wanted to see it. It wasn't... I'm not even crazy about Cars 1, but this movie kind of went out of its way to be a bit more like actively like, ooh, okay. So yeah, it wasn't like claw your eyes out unbearably bad. So I mean, it was dull and not really particularly exciting, and it had like weird espionage things in it. It felt a little bit like Frankenstein's monster stitched together. So it wasn't great. Brave.
D.
That's a Brave is a C for right now.
Yeah, same for me. C.
Yeah, this one I don't remember anything about it other than a talking bear, and crazy. I really did not like the pacing at all with this film. I think it was like one of the most poorly paced Pixar movies. And it's just one that I cannot remember anything other than the stupid talking bear. And it's one of those concepts that there was something there. That's the highest compliment that I can give it, because I don't think it's a terrible film. It's just one that I found to be mediocre for Pixar, and I admired that they tried to do something kind of different, and also with like the time period that it was set in, it could have been really epic, and instead it kind of was a wet fart. It wasn't epic at all. It was just a really bad, wet, loud fart.
Gross.
Yeah.
Got him.
Scottish
rip.
one.
You know what? Funnily enough, I'm actually going to change where it is. I'm actually going to change it to a B. Because from a C to a B.
That's wild.
Thinking about it again. I liked... to me, it felt very rich. I think, like, there were some things with the pacing, but, like, overall, I enjoyed being in that world. There was, I like the magic in it. And when I say magic, I don't mean quite literally, like, the magic system of it, but, like, just the magic, the mystery, the awe, like, you know, but also how, like, the magic wasn't just, you know, like it wasn't all just spooky, but like it was a little kooky too as well, without being too like hokey or whatever else, you know, especially the Witcher Lady. I don't know, and I enjoyed it. It didn't feel too sappy for me, even though, you know, it's definitely lends toward that. But yeah, I thought it was fun. There's some moments that, like, sure, I'd watch clips of it. Would I rewatch this movie? Probably not on my own volition. You know, if my wife was like, hey, yo, let's watch Brave, I'm like, okay, sure. If it was anyone else, I'd probably be like, nah, I'm going to pass. So, yeah, that's why Brave is a B for me.
I don't remember it terribly well, but I just remember when it ended, me being like, all right. I remember where I was when I watched it, and I remember the time-ish. It was somewhere around 2012, 2013. It did take the Oscar for the year it came out, beating out Frankenweenie, Paranorman, The Pirates Band of Misfits, and Wreck-It Ralph. Wow. Of those, I've only seen Wreck-It Ralph, and I remember liking that more. Paranorman, I heard, was basic. Everyone was like, that should have been it.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic... Yeah, 2 of those movies were already better than Brave. I didn't see the other ones you mentioned.
So, I sometimes I feel like... And I'm not saying this as a slight against Pixar. It's kind of like... Sometimes I feel like when Pixar makes something, the Academy's just like, did Pixar make a thing? All right, here you go.
Automatic clapping, automatic roses on the floor. Like, yeah.
Here you go. Monsters University.
C.
Rich?
Never seen it.
Yeah, I never saw it either.
Yeah, forgettable. It's fine, cute, but overall, it was a disappointing film compared to what they did with Monsters Inc. And I just felt like, okay, it was a unique idea. Like, let's see, like, them in college. Let's see a prequel. But this was starting to be in the era of everybody wants to do a prequel, and we're still in that era where it's like, can we just like move forward? Can we like go into the future? I like the idea of wanting to see how things... Oh, that's why that happened in 1. Oh, okay. Sometimes it's better to just go forward and let the past go in our imagination. And I felt like this really was a film that didn't need to be made, but I was fine with it. It was okay. It wasn't a big poo-poo on the first one, but I'm never going to go back to it. Never. I watched it once in theaters, and that's it.
All right. You're the only one that saw it, so.
Yep.
Good talk.
Moving fast on that one.
Inside Out.
S tier.
Rich?
Never seen it. I don't think I've seen that movie.
Dang. I recommend you see it, man.
I think I need to see it again, but I'll put it in S as well because I remember liking it.
Oh god, I love this movie. It's part of the reason why we're also doing this, because by the time this comes out, I believe it's either going to be out already or it's about to come out for Inside Out 2. I am highly anticipating it. I don't think I've been this excited for a Pixar film in a long time, probably since like before COVID, let's just say that. But yeah, it was a movie that kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't expect the story to go in the direction that it did, with the idea of literally being inside someone's mind, specifically this girl named Riley, I believe, and you are thrown into the perspective of her emotions, how she views life through these little cartoon characters that represent sadness, joy, anger, I don't want to say envy. Dang, I'm already trying.
That's what it
Disgust, yes. Played by Mindy Kaling from The Office. Also in Velma, one of the worst shows of all time. Terrible show. But oh, it's so bad. But she's great in this. She is fantastic. Amy Poehler as Joy. Literally perfect voice casting. And Bing Bong. Iconic. If I don't want to say anything about that character because Richard, I really feel like you will love that character. But it dives into themes, and this is the reason why I love Pixar, where it can manage comedy, can manage just being a good kids film, but also throwing in really heavy themes and making it feel so natural. And to me, this is one of the most natural films from Pixar when it comes to certain attempts of, because I don't want to say it's a super like sappy film, because I don't think it's super sappy. It just feels real. It just feels earnest, and it feels kind of just genuine with how it represents growing up. And that's why I'm excited to see Inside Out 2.
I'm just surprised you haven't seen this, Rich. I saw it once. It was really good. I feel like I need to see it again. It is surprisingly intricate for something kind of marketed as being a kids movie. Out of all the Pixar movies, at least the ones that I've seen, this is probably the one I would say that adults will probably get a lot more out of than kids will.
Yeah.
From what I remember. Good Dinosaur.
See.
Yeah, I ain't seen this.
I've seen parts of it, but not enough to feel good about tearing it. I wasn't huge on what I saw, so go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, it's a cute movie. It's literally the definition of, you want to watch a cute movie? Go watch The Good Dinosaur. Is there a plot? Not really. But is there cute dinosaurs that talk and the humans don't? Yeah. Then you're going to have a great time, kids. I remember seeing this with my wife. I saw it with Alicia. She loves this movie. She's like, don't you dare talk crap about this movie. I love this movie. And I don't despise it. She would probably give it an A. Like, realistically, yeah, it would be like an A tier, maybe B. But for me, it's the definition of, you want to go see a simple film? Go watch The Good Dinosaur. That's the highest that should be on the marketing for them, for The Good Dinosaur 2. Want to go watch the most anticipated simple film of the year? Well, we got a sequel for you. Yeah, so that's where it's at. See.
Finding Dory.
Oh man. See.
Yeah, you already know sure as hell I ain't see that.
I did, and I'm actually really torn on this between B and C, because I remember it having some good moments, but ultimately, I would actually say that out of all the Pixar movies I have seen, this one is possibly the most dangerous to show your child. I'm gonna put it at,
ooh, I want to know why. Dang.
But I don't think it's like a bad movie. Like, it's cute. It's got fun moments, this, that, and the other. So I'm going to put it like C, maybe like low C.
Yeah, it's C because I just remember I feel like there was a lot of anticipation for this. And for me, at least, it didn't meet the expectations that I had. Like I said, like, it's not like I thought Finding Nemo was already like one of the best movies of all time. I thought it was still a really good film, and I enjoyed watching it. And I'm like, oh, there's a sequel? Okay. Oh, this is kind of an interesting premise. We're going to have Dory be more of the main character. Well, I like Dory. Let's see what happens. Oh, Dory's the main character. Yeah, this wasn't a good idea. Yeah, so it was kind of a disappointment for me with the direction that they went in. And the new characters that they added, I didn't really find them interesting. But yeah, there were some cute moments. Don't hate the movie. Don't think it's great. It was just okay.
Yeah, I remember, I think my favorite character was the whale shark. I saw the movie once, and it has been memed a little bit because of the Swedish version of the movie. Do you know what I'm talking about, Rich?
No, but it sounds hilarious already.
So at the end of the movie...
No disrespect to the Swedish people.
Well, I think it's Swedish. At the end of the movie, and at the end of Finding Nemo, it kind of just like cuts to the deep blue sea, the abyss, and it says "the end" and gives you kind of like this ambiance whale song sound. Well, the problem is that in Swedish, the word for finished or the end or, it's over is the word slut. It is spelled S-L-U-T. So the movie just cuts from Dory being like, "Wow, what an adventure," to just Sloot, and it's like, "Damn, they did Dory dirty." It was so out of the blue. The first time I saw it, I was very unprepared. So Dory got a couple of memes out of that. The reason I say the movie is potentially kind of sort of dangerous, it is about Dory, who's a very forgetful character, going on a search for her parents. And the movie, it's a Disney movie, so it has to end well. And it's like, oh my gosh, we missed you. We thought we'd never see you again. We this or that. We this or that. Real life is just not that kind. They're like it. Like, imagine going to the movie theater with, like, a foster child you took in. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh at it, like, wouldn't that be funny? But, like, awkward. Like, really awkward. Like, I put myself in the shoes of, like, parents who take a child that they adopted to see this movie. And it's about someone trying to find their parents, and lucky us, the parents were looking for her all along and holding out hope and leaving signs on the front lawn hoping she'd come back. But, like, I wouldn't doubt that this movie might have, like, effed up a few people. So that's why I would call it probably kind of sort of a more dangerous outing to take your kids to. Because everybody got really lucky in this movie. Like, everybody got pretty lucky. Cars 3.
Never saw it.
Really?
Yep. I heard it was good.
Yeah, you already know. I ain't seen that.
I feel like Richard's going to be like, I haven't seen that one.
I have. And I think I'll put I'll put it in.
You're gonna notice that after a certain year, that list starts to grow.
I'll put it in B. I think it's actually the best Cars movie. It basically it starts to shift to put Lightning in a position where he's starting to become obsolete, and it starts to push him into being a mentor for a new generation, like Doc was in the first one. And
that's interesting.
It is interesting. It's nice to see. And of course, you know, the rivals, your stereotypical. I think Armie Hammer played him. He's like he's a little bit of a cardboard cutout. He's a super duper fast sports car that runs really lean and hits like 200 miles an hour, and he's super cocky, and he's like the latest greatest model, blah blah blah. And so, you know, Lightning's trying to rely on like old stuff that Holiday taught him, you know, the old ways are best kind of thing. And it eventually brings him to a place where he starts kind of like teaching the old ways Doc taught him to this newer car, this yellow car. I don't remember the names. I saw it once back when it came out. It was pretty decent. Coco.
A.
Which one was that again?
That's the one about the Day of the Dead, the kid.
The Day of the Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. I'd probably say B. It's a B.
B. I think I'm also in the B.
Yeah, for me, it was, I think, the quickest way to say it, because I can go on like a whole 5-10 minute rant why I love the movie, because I think it's very, it has a lot to say. And it's one of the most beautifully like crafted animated films. The way they go from obviously the transition to the other side is really, really remarkable. I think all the characters are very unique, especially the main character. But for me, the movie got enhanced when I saw it with my wife, who's Mexican, and just seeing her reaction to the film. And it wasn't even mine, you know, like for me, I love to go to movies sometimes with people and just honestly like, oh, are they liking this? Oh, I really hope they like this part. And that's one of my favorite experiences of like just witnessing somebody watch something that really resonates with them on a level that only like they can probably connect with. Yeah. So that's why it's an A tier for me.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. the themes it explores, the way that it explores those themes, the way that it engages in that particular culture, how it represents it, the how vibrant it all is. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful movie, and it also is a beautiful movie to watch with other people. I found as well. The reason it's at a B and not higher is because like I just wouldn't watch it again. You know, like I've seen it a few times and I really enjoyed my time when I did watch it, but I don't have any pull to watch it again. So yeah, that's why it's where it is, but it is a wonderful movie.
I really liked this movie and a lot of what it did. Honestly, the only reason it's not higher is because at one point this movie pulled the rug out from under me in a pretty big way. Um, just it pulled it out from under me in terms of like the plot twist, because I was really interested in the notion of like, well, what happens? The kid's Miguel. Yeah, that's his name, Miguel. He's on this search, on this journey to find this guy, and it turns like it pulled the rug out from under me because all of a sudden now I was invested in the question of like, well, what if he finds this person and it's a bad person? Like, that was really interesting to me. Like, what do you do when the person that you've been looking forward to meeting and seeing and doing all these things with turns out to just like be a bad person? Like, full stop. Not just a bad person, like a malicious murderer. But the movie pulls the rug out and they're like, no, it's not actually him, it's this guy, it's the nice guy. And it was a little bit of a rug pull for me. Sorry if that's like a hot or edgy take, but the question interested me. Like, what if it was a bad person? And then you kind of look forward to the notion of being like, wow, my hero's not who I thought he was, but this other person can end up becoming the hero I was actually looking for, instead of, oh, that other person actually is the hero I was looking for, and the person I've been looking up to was a bad person all along. I feel like it just took the easier of two roads, and I was really intrigued by the first road, and it didn't take it. Incredibles 2.
B.
I feel bad because I don't remember anything about that movie. Oh, I do remember about this. I do remember this. I'm trying to remember what my other rankings were. Right now, I'm just going to say C because I don't remember where everything else was. So I'm just going to say C.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there are some disappointing aspects to it, but overall I thought it was a pretty good film. The only thing I didn't really like was the kind of... If you've seen the movie, you know exactly who the villain is. And I hate when movies try to be like, I wonder who the villain... It's like, my 5-year-old can guess who the villain is. Pixar, you're actually smart, and you know how to craft really good stories with twists and turns sometimes. So to me, that was a little bit annoying, especially for a sequel that was 14 years away from 2004. It's like crazy to me that it came out. It took that long. Like, there was a video game that was basically a sequel that came out first before... I think it was like the Underminer or something.
Yep.
Which was a great game. But for the story, I thought it was kind of unique because it did the whole swap thing. Like, if you ever seen 21 and 22 Jump Street, where you have Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill basically swap roles. One's cool, one's lame. They basically do that here, where instead of Mr. Incredible being the one who's going to get the missions and getting all the time to kick butt, nah, it's Miss Incredible. It's Thighs. She's back for vengeance, boys. Better watch out. And I thought it was, some people could say it was of a predictable approach, but to me it wasn't, because I genuinely knew nothing going in. And for a sequel that was 14 years in the making, or I should say on pause, and then a couple years in the making. It was good. Not as good as The Incredibles, though.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the more you were talking about it, the more I remembered. Yeah, it was one of those things where it's a good movie. You watch it and you say it's a good movie, and then you kind of just move on from that. I think that, like, the only reason why there would be any further conversation about it is just because of the fact that it was a pre-existing IP, and one that was, like, highly anticipated. Like, if there is one thing that people would want a follow-up to outside of, like, Toy Story, it probably would be Incredibles, right? It's like the, you know, GTA 6 meme, right? It's like everyone's been waiting for it for so long, you know, like, Jesus will come back before, you know, so when it did come out, like, I feel like there's, like, that attached to it. Without that attached to it, I feel like it would just be just, like, kind of a regular movie. Like, it is a very vanilla kind of movie. Like, it's something you would go take your kids to or whatever else, and hey, you all eat popcorn, and then you leave, and then basically none of you ever think about the movie again, and all you remember are the beautiful memories that you made together. That's what that movie is.
I never saw it. Toy Story 4.
See?
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I didn't even know there was a Toy Story 4. So, I definitely didn't see that.
Oh boy. I'll probably.
Oh boy, yeah.
Probably like a high C.
It didn't need to be made. That's why it just pisses me off sometimes with Hollywood studios, Pixar specific, just running out of ideas. And I'm giving it a C because it was genuinely an okay film. I honestly didn't think it was going to be that good. I was wondering, questioning all the time, like, why are they doing this? They literally have an ending. Leave it alone. And for the direction that it goes in, specifically with the character of Woody and kind of like his purpose, and then where he ends off, and I guess they're going to do Toy Story 5. It is confirmed it is going to happen. But besides that, you have characters like Forky. Forky redeemed the movie for me for a bit. Forky is a very uniquely different Toy Story character, and I found that part of the film to be the most original with what they were trying to do, especially with a scene between him and Woody. And also you have Keanu Reeves. Like, come on, Keanu Reeves in a Toy Story film? Yeah, you get my thumbs up of approval. So that's really the reason why. It's Forky, Keanu Reeves, and the movie's fine. The movie is fine, but man, they didn't need to make it. Like, and that's the biggest issue that I have with it, is that, yeah, you can make it, but you already had an ending. And genuinely, with what they did, it's still, to me, doesn't feel like it was justified for them to make a Toy Story 4. But at the end of the day, it made a lot of money. I think it made $1 billion, I'm pretty sure, because it's Toy Story. Like, they haven't made one for what? It came out like in 2019. I think I have the list right here. It came out, 2019. So 9 years. Literally 9 years. And I will fact check myself. Box office 1.73. My God. Yeah, no wonder why they're going to make Toy Story 5. It made $1 billion. Okay. Touche, Disney. Touche. $1 billion.
Yeah, this movie didn't need to happen. It's going to make a ton of money and sell a lot of toys, but it didn't need to happen. I would have been more curious to see a movie about, like, the toys acclimating to a different owner. Something is between Andy and the little girl, like, just what it's like to almost kind of like get a second life in a way. but it just kind of skips all that and goes into like it's been a while and we're still her toys. That being said, it was fine, and I have some, I guess, mild curiosity to see where it goes next, because every single time they like, it could have ended at 3, and with the ending 4 has, it could end there too, but they're like, no, let's do another one. It's like, okay, like it's kind of starting to turn into like the Return of the King a little bit, ending 1, ending 2, ending 3, ending 4. So it's just I don't really need that in like high quality children's entertainment. Onward.
I will say C. C for Onward.
Okay.
What is that movie?
All right.
Like what?
I knew you were gonna say that, because honestly,
seen it either.
It's forgettable. Well, on that note, it's a forgettable film, but it's fine. It's about these two brothers who are basically like some sort of mythical kind of creature.
Oh, with like the ogre thing or whatever.
There's like Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are in it.
We did see that.
Oh, okay.
I need like a visual trigger for these, because like some I have no idea what they were that I see. Yes, I did see that. C. That's a C for me.
Yeah, it just, like I said, I only saw it once. It came out during the pandemic. I believe it literally was coming out during the last month that theaters were open. And I remember I was able to see it right before the theaters closed, and it's a movie. It's a fine movie. And it has interesting themes about what ifs. What if we could do this? And they execute it in a fine fashion. It's not harmful for kids to watch this one, I think. I do like the angle with the brothers trying to get they're trying to see their dad, because they only have half his body. It's like his legs, I think. And they're trying to get like this full wish or whatever to work so they can see their dad one last time before he goes. And that part hooked me. So that's why I give it a C. At least that premise alone was interesting and kind of funny and goofy, but the journey just wasn't that engaging with that premise. So yeah, C.
I don't remember a whole lot about it. I do remember just like having a good time. It wasn't too much, like it did have that, heartwarming, again, like they're trying to like, have these last moments with their dad. You have like two brothers that, obviously have like a lot of tension, and they're going to have it resolved through, these wacky adventures they have together, maturing, all this other kind of stuff. But for me, I felt like it struck like a decent enough balance. So there's that. I remember just really enjoying that world, the magic and all that other kind of stuff. I thought that was fun. Would I watch it again? No. If someone asked me, hey, I'm gonna watch this movie, would you? I'd be like, I'm probably gonna pass on it. It was a decent movie when I watched it. I know I enjoyed it when I watched it. I don't really have any real desire to watch it again. So, hey, but shout out to that movie though.
Soul,
I'm going to be giving that one a B.
Soul for me is like a C. Yeah, Soul is a C for me.
I haven't seen it.
Really? I recommend it. It's not A, it's not S. It's a good film. I love the way music is included, and it's done by the same composers who kicked a lot of booty today this year for music. I feel like if it doesn't win, well, Dune Part 2 should get the win, but if it doesn't, then it should be Challengers. The people who did the music for that did the music for this. and they know how to immerse you in an experience. And really the reason why I give it such a high rating, for at least for me, is because of the music and how it's such an integral part to the story with the main character. But where the movie kind of lacks for me, why it's not higher, I didn't find the execution of the body swapping to be that interesting or funny. Because I think the soul that the main character meets up with when he becomes a soul, she, or whatever they are, gets in his body, and then he is the cat. And I genuinely, it's one of those movies where you kind of like go in, you kind of get an idea of what the story's going to be, and then it decides to do something kind of a little bit different in the last 40 minutes, and you're like, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. So yeah, actually, you know what? Ooh, I really didn't like it. I remember not enjoying that part. I'll still give it a B. It honestly could go lower if I watch it again, but I genuinely did not care for that direction of the movie. It just wasn't, it wasn't funny. And I really didn't care for the point of what they were trying to do with that arc. But the ending was great, though. I love like the actual ending itself, where it finally leads to.
Yeah, Soul was a cool movie. I also really enjoyed what they were doing with the music and even just exploring jazz in a mainstream way. I'll say it that way, just because like the people that are typically really consuming Pixar in a big way are not people listening to jazz. So and their kids are definitely not listening to jazz. So that's what I mean by mainstream. So like even that is great, and the people that are behind the music are like, you know, real deal. So that was really cool. Some bits about the world I really enjoyed. I like the tension with the upper soul people. Like that was just very interesting. How like they were like antagonists in a way. Yeah, that was interesting. I had the same feeling with the whole cat thing. I was like, okay, this is stupid. I don't really, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where, like you said, it's like a big just rock fell on it, and it's like I just wish that this just was not here, but I can't undo, like I can't erase this out of what they made. So yeah, so I agree with that. Would I watch it again? No. I respect it for what it is. And yeah, I mean, it's a thing where I respect it for what it is. I respect, you know, the people that made it and also the kind of stuff, but I have no desire to watch it again, to be honest.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say is this too about it. It's a really boring movie for kids. I remember watching it, and there's like Pixar that they do a really good job of bringing in the audience, both kids and adults. But this was the first time where I'm like, I know I'm engaged, but I don't think little Jimmy over here is going to think that this is a very interesting film. He's going to be like, wait, this is about like purpose and like destiny and like what and like a job and I hope I make ends meet. The kids aren't worrying about that. So they had to find a way to bring it to a level of kids' attentions where they can find it engaging. And I think they thought too late in the premise where that engagement was in the last 30-40 minutes of the kitten, the cat swapping with his body. And even I don't even think kids thought that was good. I don't think it made a lot of money, but granted, it also came out during the pandemic. No, I think it was just a streaming released film. This was during the time when they had the worst Disney CEO of all time, Bob Chapek. who decided to make Pixar a streaming brand rather than a theatrical brand. So screw you, Bob Chapek.
That's insane.
Yeah, like millions of dollars. No, we're not going to put that in a theatrical release. That product's not worth it. Let's put it on Disney Plus because subscribers. Yeah, the math didn't math back then. But yeah, I knew I had to say that. It's not a fun film for kids. Like it's actually a very depressing movie for children to get through.
Luca.
D.
I ain't seen it.
I've not seen it.
Nah. Yeah. I'll keep it short. It's about this boy who's a mermaid. And when he gets in water, turns into a little merman boy or whatever. And gosh, this movie, I feel like, is such a what's the saying in the community when somebody has a beard? Like, oh, that's your beard. Like when somebody's trying to cover up the truth of like who they are.
No idea.
I'm pretty sure it's a thing, and like I feel like if I called up one of my friends who are part of this community, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's somebody's beard." Like it's like the gay community. It's like if it's like, "Oh, that's a beard," and I feel like this is a beard of a film for what it's really about, and I don't have an issue with that. But I feel like Disney gets some balls, dude. Like if you have an idea. And yes, it is creative, then go for it. Like, don't just be like, I hope we appease, certain people, and then they barely show appeasement to them. They give them like little sprinkles. And I think Disney does that a lot and tries to appease not just to that community, but to a lot of other communities. And that's my issue with Disney, is that they don't care about these communities. They care about your money. They care about you going to the theater and buying their product. They don't care about like your agenda. So yeah, I just found the movie to be like fine, it's cute, it's not harmful at all, but I just found it to be like, dang, Disney really wants to try to do something kind of different, and why don't you just go for it, Disney? Like, if you really love these people, then show it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm like the only person that has that thought who's seen this movie, but I felt like to me it was such an obvious, like, yeah, I see what you're doing. Why don't you like actually go for that kind of relationship depth?
Did this movie dabble in LGBTQ theme?
I feel like what the story is, it's like the idea of like hiding who you really are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I feel like the movie does a good job in a creative sense with certain things. Like obviously, like it's like mermaids, and when they come to land, are the people going to accept them? Blah, blah. It's unique, it's creative, and we've seen it done before. But now I feel like we're in a place in society with Disney where they want to dive into those stories, they just don't know how to, and they're worried about their box office. They're worried if they do it too much, they're going to piss off that community more than appease that one. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, you gotta make your claim on what you believe. You gotta like, we're either for this or we're not.
Sorry, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it. It was just like, make your choice, Disney. Just like, come on. And at the end of the day, they only care about your money. They don't care about the messages. They don't really care about the agendas. They care about the people who are behind the agendas to appease them enough to say, we like that. Let's have more of those. Here's more money. That it's a business at the end of the day, which I get. But I'm kind of tired of Disney just kind of tiptoeing around things.
I mean, I never saw it, so I actually just more have like a question. For you, Joseph, did the movie kind of do the thing where it manages to maintain plausible deniability, where like if someone goes to it and it engages in these light themes about hiding who you are, and someone from the LGBTQ community may see it and be like really affirmed by it, but someone else sees it and thinks of like just totally something different, where it's one of those movies where it's like, hey, hey, I'm really glad I got this out of it. And Pixar's just like, well, that's what you got out of it. Is it one of those kinds of things where it maintains plausible deniability?
Yeah, I think so. It's a movie that somebody could take, like for example, that's why I said I may be the only one who sees it this way.
Okay.
I could see for someone just watching it simply being like, yeah, don't be ashamed of who you are if you are in this category of life or whatever. And Disney being like, that's great, that's how you saw it. ... Like, yeah, either it's to the viewer, you know, what's the saying? Film is subjective. That's the best way to say it for this movie. I just felt like in my experience watching it and some conversations I had with other people that it was so just kind of obvious with what the movie was, at least for me, trying to say.
All right, Turning Red.
D.
Ooh, I might have to go D.
I might actually go B.
You know what's up, you know it's us, yeah. You wanted it, you went for it, and baby, you got it. Yeah, that's the best part of the whole film. The boy band was freaking fire. They got that to a T. Like the whole fangirling was great. I also thought the theme of basically what a woman has to go through and what the panda turning red, what it represented, was awesome. And I think people who were a bunch of man babies crying about how dare they make a movie about something that women go through all throughout their lives, starting at an early age, where it is appropriate for them to watch a kid's movie. How dare they talk about, I don't want my son to... Then don't take them to it, you idiot. Like, it's your choice to go watch it. Like, God, I will say that to defend the movie, even though I give it a D, I didn't like it. I think people who didn't like it solely because it deals with something that is actually relatable for, I'm sorry if you're a guy, get over it. It's dealing with something that another gender deals with, buddy. And I thought I applaud Disney for that, because that's different. Like, that isn't a common, like, kids multi-million-dollar project, you know, subject to deal with in a very creative way. That I'm not going to deny. I give them applause for that. Yes, it's on the nose for what it's trying to talk about, but also the reason why it's so low is because I genuinely thought it gave a weapon to kids, and I think it's dangerous for kids to watch it at the same time. Because I say that being like, oh yeah, you go movie. I don't have an issue with it talking about a subject that I'm never gonna go through, because why are people okay with watching a movie like Tarzan where literally the villain gets hung to death? But when we talk about women's private parts, put a gun to my head, Disney. Like, I can't let my kids watch this. But you can watch all these other scenes with people getting murdered, basically, in kids' films. So violence is where we don't cross the line, but this is where we cross the line. Yeah, go screw yourselves. Sorry, I'm getting passionate. I just think it's man babies. Grow up. But the reason why it's a negative, like I said, it's a weapon because the themes and the attempts of being independent, of being an independent child, and kind of overstepping your authority, really overstepping your parents, I think is wrong.
It's a D.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rich. I
thought
you hadn't seen it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a D for me just because, like, I don't really remember anything about it. I know that I watched it. I know that when I watched it, it was fine. I don't remember any kind of crazy reactions to it. Yeah, I just know that, like, a loved one of mine really enjoyed the movie, and so, like, I watched it with them. Outside of that, like, I have no Like, I don't really remember anything about it. So, respect to them for everything they did, whatever it was that they did. Yeah, that's why it's a D for me.
I think what I appreciated about this movie was the theme of like generational disconnection, where a parent grows up one way, and instead of raising a child how they wish they were raised, they raise their child how they were raised. And I think that's an interesting theme to explore. Could have been done better, sure. And I mean, I'm talking as someone who, like, I have trouble connecting with people in the generation I'm in. I have trouble connecting with people, period. I guess I just appreciate the themes of generational disconnect, and that's all I'm really going to say on it. It's a common theme in some movies, but they got to approach it in, like, in sort of a childish way, and I thought they did an okay job of it. It's goofy, it's weird, it's awkward at a few parts, and some of the allegories are, like, hardly allegories, but I appreciate the theme that it was going for. Buzz Lightyear.
Lightyear gets a solid big fat D.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it has an amazing first act. One of my favorite YouTubers actually saw it at CinemaCon, and what they did was showed the entire audience the first 30 minutes of the film, and I remember all the hype because they said the first 30 minutes are incredible, and if it matches that, or at least half of that, this is going to be one of the best Pixar films. And wow, they were right. The first 30 minutes were incredible. What happened was the last hour, and train wreck. Right in the face.
Dang.
You gotta love your Taika Waititi. This was during the time where Taika Waititi was unstoppable before Thor: Love and Thunder, which I actually liked. I'm not gonna lie, I like Thor: Love and Thunder.
I like it too, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a dumb fun movie. I get it. It was a little too much comedy in it. Yeah, and like Taika, I get it. He has a good relationship with Disney, and he was a okay character in this, but man, it got annoying at times. Kind of short-lived, but yeah, the first 30 minutes were engaging because it put Buzz in a very intense situation where he has to make choices that are not easy, and he makes connections with people that I found to be really human. And where he starts to where he ends in the first 30 minutes, it's incredible. And then the movie goes into generic adventure film where this is Lightyear. Like, you took all this time and effort with the writing, finding the right voice actor, which was also controversial because it wasn't Tim Allen, it was Chris Evans playing the real Buzz Lightyear, because obviously Toy Story is the toy version. And I loved the idea. I'm like, oh, so we're going to get pretty much the real story of Buzz Lightyear, but it's played by a different voice actor. That I can get behind that kind of. Okay, let's see what happens. And Chris Evans wasn't the issue. It was the direction and really the pacing. The pacing was atrocious, and the villain, I really want to, because I don't want to spoil it, because I think you guys should check it out, honestly. I think it is worth alone the first 30 minutes. But it just felt like they didn't know where to end it. And then the movie just kind of ends, and you get Lightyear. Here's his story. Okay, yep. Never watching it again. I would only watch it for the opening, and that's it. But you know where exactly it's going to end, and it's just not worth it. It's not even worth it to those, like, memorable moments that you might find in a bad movie, where you're like, oh, at least
That's
this part's good.
terrible.
It is, and it's such a shame because it's Lightyear, dude. Like, people were hyped. Like, when people watched that trailer in theaters, people were like, oh, I think I'll actually check that out. That looks pretty interesting. They had some David Bowie music playing in the background. Starman. Like, oh, dude, I'm in. Let's go. But yeah, D. Big old fat throbbing D.
All right. Last one. Elemental.
C.
Elemental. What's that one about?
It's like the first rom-com. It's about elements like fire and water falling in love.
Yeah, I did not see that.
I haven't seen it either. It's all you, Joseph.
I'll keep it short, as usual, with the C's. It's cute. It's a romantic comedy. It's the first romantic comedy from Pixar, pretty much. You can tell it's their attempt to, like, do something kind of unique. And it also touches... I will say this. It does succeed in the romantic comedy angle at times. For me, personally, it was really cringy. Like, my wife was having a great time. She loves the film for a different reason. I'll get to that. And it's also why I do enjoy it at the end of the day. It's just one I'm not going to go back to and fall in love with the more I watch it. But it was a little cringy for me. That was the biggest reason why I bring it down to this rating. But I loved the attempt of the heavy theme of immigration. It didn't see that coming. And it's Pixar. Most of the time, they know how to handle heavy things. And I thought they did it flawlessly with that part. But too bad the movie gets weighed down with really cringy dialogue. And the worst part is this. Nothing is worse when a comedy movie doesn't make you laugh. That's why it's a C.
Dang.
Yeah, not saying it doesn't, like, there are moments, and I think it's worth a watch purely for the immigration backdrop for the film. Really touching.
Yo, what? Hey, hold on. Wait. Yo, what? Yo, I don't know why. Maybe it's what do you call it? When you, not dementia, that's totally the wrong word that's coming to mind. But delirium, there it is. So it's not too far off. Well, very far off. Anyway, but like that just is hilarious to me. Like the idea of like, go watch this Pixar film, go watch this animated film. Not for the characters, not for the world, not for the none of that. No. But because of how it talks about immigration, like
Yep.
that is wild to me. I don't know why, but that is wild to me. I mean, that's fire. Shout out to this movie and what they did for that. But that is why. I did not expect that. I did not whatever it was that you were about to talk about with this movie. I did not expect to hear immigration.
Yep.
Again, shout out to them for that. But yo, that is just like, that's throwing me off.
And that's why I respect Disney. I respect, at the end for this crazy, I knew it was going to be longer than an hour. Deep in my heart, I knew it. That's why I wanted to do the ranking, because I felt like it was cool to be able to talk about these movies individually really quickly. But, you know, kind of a really on point final note to go on for why I love Pixar, because they can try to do something like that. They can try to be a romantic comedy while also talking about that. So it's wild. It's kind of like, how can that work? What the heck? Sleepless in Seattle, but all of a sudden he falls in love with an immigrant. Like, that's pretty much but it's a cartoon movie. It's a kid's film. Like, okay. Let's see what you got, Pixar. I love it. I love and respect it, and it's kind of interesting seeing our list and like how similar but also very different we all are. And that's why I love talking movies with you guys, because film is subjective. It's a beautiful thing to disagree with someone or agree with somebody, which I think for all of us, we can probably agree that, would we say that The Incredibles is like our favorite one? Like, if we had to pick one at the end of the day.
I'd say yes. For me, yes.
Sorry, what was the question?
Like, what would be your number one out of all of them? I'm thinking we all seem pretty strong, like, on The Incredibles.
Yeah, like, if we had to make a unified
tough
decision as far as, like, what's S tier.
You mean like putting them in order? I mean, Rich only has one S tier.
No, yeah. I'm just saying, like, our number one personally, like, because looking at your S tier, obviously, to Richard's point, I think it obviously it's between Bug's Life and Incredibles being his favorites, but obviously number one being The Incredibles for him. And for you and me, Tim, I feel like, do you feel like Up and Inside Out is better than The Incredibles?
All three of these, it's really tough because these are just so completely different.
Yeah, they are.
I think Up kind of touches a special place in my heart just because I'm about to sound like I'm playing the world's saddest violin, but like I struggle with feeling like I've missed my chance on a lot of things, and I struggle with the notion that the few things I haven't missed my chance on, or the few things that I have or that I cherish, I either have, will, either like I have effed it up or I will F it up. Like, it's, so there's just something about someone who feels like life passed him by that resonates with me. The Incredibles hits me because just the idea of power and status kind of falling into these heroes' laps. They haven't necessarily done anything to earn or deserve the power that they have. And the idea of this villain being like, you know what, if you have it, everyone has it, and then we are equal. I do find that interesting and compelling. Essentially, you could look at it on a commentary of almost, kind of, sort of, but not really, like nepotism. Just like getting something just because. And
I see that.
And not like earning it, not having it, starting off on a better foot than the rest of the world got to. Inside Out resonates with me because I don't like the idea of leaning on autism as like a crutch in my life, and at the same time, I genuinely don't know where it ends and I begin, and vice versa, where I begin and it ends, because I don't know what a normal brain is like. I have no idea. When some people describe to me the way that their thought process works, I'm like, that sounds awesome. Want to trade? For one, I almost feel like Inside Out is almost a little bit too idealistic. Like the idea that your emotions are so completely separate, they're different characters, but they're all operating the same switchboard. Because to me, it's almost like they just mash up and create this ugly thing that ultimately is a person just trying to live a normal life. So, I mean, I'm sorry, those are all like really depressing reasons for me to feel like I like these movies. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite out of them. I think Up kind of has like a special place in my heart, so to speak. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a really tough one. I think I'm honestly the most torn between The Incredibles and Up, and I'm not really sure I can. It's been so long since I've seen The Incredibles specifically that I don't know if I can give like a definitive this one or that one. If like gut instinct, I think The Incredibles has a slight edge.
Well, I was gonna make a decision for you and say Up, because it sounds like Up is definitely wiping the floor with the other two.
The reason I'm kind of giving Incredibles a slight edge is if I were to I feel like the likelihood of me just like randomly pausing on a scene and watching it which one would I more likely be engaged in if I just stopped at a random point? Like, if I just, out of 10 times, I stop at 10 different parts of these two different movies, which one would I be like, oh, I genuinely want to know what happens next more often? I think it would be The Incredibles. The themes of Up hit me pretty hard, but the engagement of The Incredibles, I think, is more of like a pull in. So, I mean, Up is like my most sentimental pick.
Yeah.
I like the way you worded that. Yeah, because like I think movies can be viewed so differently where this one's just, I'd rather rewatch it more, and I still love it, and I think it's a great film, and then this one makes me feel more. Mm-hmm. This one, it may not be like one I watch, like I may watch that one more. It's like, for example, for me, Top Gun Maverick, I think it's one of the most rewatchable films in the last like 5-10 years. But do I think The Sound of Music is a better film? Yeah, because it's The Sound of Music. But would I rather watch 10 other scenes in Top Gun Maverick than The Sound of Music? Yeah, probably the Top Gun Maverick. So I get that sentiment that you're saying, and
Rich, what is it for you? Incredibles or Bug's Life?
Well, no, that's not even. It's Incredibles.
Yeah, okay.
The Incredibles is S tier because it's fire. That's why. That's why there's no. Yeah, there's not even anything like. It's just literally fire. It's like what you said. Like, I can go at any point in that movie, and I will love it. It really doesn't matter where. The sound design is gonna be crazy. It's funny because when you were talking, you were talking about Syndrome just a couple of minutes ago, just about almost in a way how you could think of it like the whole like nepotism thing, right? And it just brought me back to that scene of him going on a tangent when he's talking to Mr. Incredible, and he's in those like little lightning. It's got the little lightning things or whatever, and I just remember the sound of like when he's trying to get like out of it, right? Like, and like I don't know, just that kind of thing to me, just. Everything about it is great. The music is great. The settings are great. The characters themselves, they're all great. Just everything. It's fire. It's fire. It's an incredible movie. I don't even know if I have any kind of like real like sentimentality to it. Like, I think I saw it with my family. Like, I know we had it on DVD, and I spammed it a whole bunch of times, with my younger siblings. Like, we all enjoyed it. We had the video game, actually, and it's a meme in my family to say all out of ice, because whenever Frozone died, he would say, I'm all out of ice. And so we would just, like, it's a meme to this day. To this day, we literally will say, I'm all out of ice. My parents will say it. It's so ingrained. But even that, all that aside, it's not like I have real emotion attached. Outside of the fact that it's fire. It's a fire movie. Anyone who says otherwise, I just can't trust them. That's all I have to say. I can't trust anyone who doesn't believe that The Incredibles is fire. And that's it. That's just the objective truth.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. On that note, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh, also, one last thing I'm going to say right now is, one thing that I noticed is that across the board, there's no Fs. We have no Fs.
Yep.
No what?
And I want to change that right now by moving
Nemo
Nemo down to an F.
Dang you, straight to heaven.
If it makes you feel better, I was really close to putting Cars 2 in an F, but it didn't have zero redeem. Like, to be an F, you've really gotta. You gotta
suck.
Like,
you
have
gotta
to be aggressive.
Or catch this, you just have to have a real axe to grind and be biased. And I am both of those things. I'm both biased and I have an axe to grind. So it's getting an F.
You want me to move it down?
Wow.
Yeah, move it down.
He's making a statement. That's what it is.
I'm making a statement. I'm taking a stand. All right, I'm taking a stand.
It's okay to hate
What happened to the
Nemo.
good old days? What happened to the good old days where we could just hate something? We don't have to love everything all the time. Let's take it back to the good old days. Who's with me?
You know
Who's
what?
with
You know
me?
what?
I was never
I'm with
under the
ya.
impression that a D or E tier movie was liked or loved in the first place. That's pretty disliked to me.
Oh
my
man, the
gosh.
good old days of a F. Stop all the participation trophies.
You know what?
Some
you know
people.
what? I want to make a stand too. I want to make a freaking stand. Tim, move Toy Story 4 to an F for me, cause frick everything that it represents.
From a C to
There it is.
From a C to
Yep.
an F.
Bring that bad boy to an F. I'm with Richard. I'm making a statement. Screw you, Disney, or make original content. And don't reboot Incredibles and Finding Nemo, you idiots. God.
How do you reboot something that's 2 movies long?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
What movie are they... Well, they've done it, feels like 12 times with Transformers. I'll tell you that.
I thought those were all
My
the same
God.
canon, except for Transformers 1. The CGI one that's coming out soon.
Transformers... Well, Bumblebee was technically supposed to be an origin, but also it doesn't make any sense with the timeline that it's in. And also, the Transformers Rise of the Beast, I think, is completely... That one is not canon. And now they're trying to do G.I. Joe and Transformers in a movie together, which honestly sounds really cool. I'm definitely going to watch the crap out of that. But yeah, everything...
Yeah, people
ugh.
love the G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah. The ones with Channing Tatum. Hey, it could be something, especially if you got Chris Hemsworth. I think he's the lead. That's what I heard. Anyways, that's the video, guys. That's our ranking. Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah, do that stuff. That fire
Join the
stuff.
Discord.
Join
Buy
the
our
membership.
merch.
Buy our merch.
Go see us on Twitch.
What's the other one called? Go see us on the Instagram version of Twitter that nobody uses anymore. Oh my
Friend
gosh.
me on MySpace.
Yes.
All right.
OnlyFans at Richard69. You'll find him there.
Right.
I'm gonna be a real degenerate. Check out my kick streams.
Ooh.
There it is.
Dang. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
Use our affiliate code on the next gambling site that you use, whatever that gambling site is that all the kids use these days. Oh man.
And play Raid
Well,
Shadow
there it is.
Legends.
Yeah, and Raid Shadow. That just shows you, if nothing else, you now know that we're all chronically online.
Yeah, right.
So we've
Part of me hates
we've
it.
got
Part of me hates
Yeah.
it. I really do.
yo. Shout out to Pixar. Salute.
Thanks, Pixar.
And Pixar, you better subscribe after this. So
You move 2 of their movies to F at the end, and you're like, you better support us, Pixar. That's brutal.
hey.
All right.
All right.
Click and stop.
There it is.